All right, we're back. So, oh, I got monitoring on now. All starts. I don't know how anyone can record a video and listen to themselves talk at the same time. Like, I mean, I know like you hear yourself when you talk, but I'm talking about like when you have monitoring on. It drives me nuts. At any rate, one of my favorite people on YouTube, at Man Alone or Man is Alone, is doing a solo RPG event where we are to start a solo RPG and log some hours of gameplay. I'll be honest, I believe there's like some sort of like prize involved or whatever. I'm not like terribly interested in that, but I am cool with his notion that people need to like just get started playing. There's so much, and I've been guilty about this myself of like having started and stopped. I have started and stopped like way more games than I've ever actually played solo. There's something about it that's especially daunting, and I know my production value for the cyborg thing I'm doing isn't too good, and the campaign is probably not like super interesting. I'm doing a great job of selling my stuff, my content, but for what it's worth, I think the reason I record it, first off, I like to record all my gameplay that I can, because there's been so many moments when like man, I wish I could like go back and like relive some of those like really cool RPG moments that I've had. But I when it comes to solo gameplay, I like recording it in part because I have to imagine that like somebody out there is benefiting, or maybe I am like hesitant to like give myself this much credit, maybe even inspired by seeing me doing it. And if I'm doing it, I'm pointing at myself. If I'm doing it, then anybody can do it, right? Like I'm not especially talented at running games or anything like that, or like the best role player ever, or I don't have any like acting experience or anything like that, and I can get some solo stuff going. So if I can do it, anyone can do it. Anyway, I really like the way Man Alone is prompting everyone to like get off their butts and to actually play. Now I know I have like an ongoing cyborg thing, but one, I don't think it'd be like super fair to enter the contest with like, look, I've been playing games for like a month now, or two, and there's all this content that you can just go and like, that I can go and like get credit for. So I think in the spirit of whatever like the contest is, I decided to start something new, and Runecairn has always been something on like my backlog of something to run. So I'm gonna give it a shot, and to further demonstrate like how you can just like dive into solo play, I've had the new edition of Runecairn, or like the remastered edition, for, I mean, ever since like the Kickstarter shipped, right? But I've never actually played the game. I've read it a few times, but the point is that I rolled my character up during lunch today. I was having lunch with my wife, and she was doing her journaling stuff, and I was next to her at the table rolling dice for making up a character. And the point is that I rolled up a character this afternoon, and I'm playing tonight. Like that's how quickly we can get from like, I really want to do some solo role playing, to like actually playing. And again, if I'm doing it, you can do it. So if you've ever had an inclination to do any sort of solo play, now is a great time to jump in, because this contest is, if you go and look at like there's like a log sheet where everyone is like putting in like what they've played and how many hours they have of it. If you, like, all these people are coming together and doing it, so you should too. Okay, so without further ado, I have rolled up Torsten, who I will describe him as he is rugged. His skin is drawn, which I believe, I don't know what drawn skin means. It's probably not good. He has curly hair. He's pale of skin. When he talks to people, he tends to be blunt. However, he is known for being both humble and somehow rude. I'm going to take that as like he doesn't have much of a like a censor when he talks to people. And in his former life, Torsten was a warrior of some kind. He must be. Because although he awakens in a cave with no memory of who he is. Sorry, I do this all the time. Who I am. I awaken in a cave with no memory of who I am or how I arrived here. I am, as I examine myself in the light of a solitary bonfire, a waning bonfire. I examine myself and find I am clad in chainmail and I have a shield with me. And my hands are rugged and calloused and my forearms are scarred. And I immediately interpret this as the former life of a warrior of some kind. But I carry nothing else with me, and I have no memory of how I got here. It's just me and a warm bonfire that the light from the fire dances on a broken sword leaning against the cave wall. So I rise and groggily cross the uneven cave floor to pick up the sword, which is rusted and dented. The iron blade snapped near the hilt. The blade is obviously dull, and its balance is all off as I heft it and give it a couple practice swings, finding that some sort of muscle memory carries the arc of my blade through. Or would, if there was a blade on this thing. It's almost worthless, but it's good for D3 damage. Other than that, the cave, the smoke from the bonfire trails off towards the east, which gives me the impression that that is the way through. Other than that, the walls are covered in moss and lichen, growing with abandon. There's clearly nowhere else to go here but east. So, broken sword in hand, I cross around the bonfire, enjoying a little bit of warmth at my back. Head east. Two ragged, emaciated forms staggered languidly from one side of the cave to the other, occasionally raising a weathered arm to strike at the jagged wall with a ruined sword hilt. They see you, but their eyes are empty voids. The ragged forms look like men, but their movement is empty and listless, skin dried and worn like faded leather. the sharp sound of their hilts. Sharp sound of their hilts as they strike the stone walls. The corridor narrows and winds to the north. As I look around the corner from here, peering around these two individuals, I see a set of stone double doors reaching from floor to ceiling. The only way through is to go through. The only way forward is to go through these two shades. It says here, they do not react if the ragged forms are shades, but do not react if provoked or attacked. They die silently with no fight. Instead, I give them a wide berth and say some prayer under my breath. I don't recognize where the prayer is from, but I quietly, under my breath, wish them peace. The doors ahead of me, the double stone doors, are hewn from the cave walls, and they each have an enormous handle. The door swings open easily, revealing an enormous chamber filled with stalactites and stalagmites. There we go. Oops. Just touch. A little bit. Sharp wind shrieks through the vast chamber as I enter. Craggy stalactites grasp from the sunken ceiling, and gnarled stalagmites collect green water in shallow pools. There's a smashed crater in the center of this room, strewn with broken chunks of stone. At the opposite end of the chamber is a set of towering carved doors. An obscured ledge is visible to the east. A crumpled tunnel is easily overlooked. Heavy, piercing stalactites hang precariously from the ceiling. I cross the cave floor and see that from the smashed center, radiating cracks filled with broken stalagmites and shattered yellow bones. Somebody died here violently a long time ago, crushed by rock of some kind. I give it a wide berth, and instead meander around, heading for the double doors, hoping for an exit. As I cross the jagged chamber, a stone demon emerges from the ledge and jumps down into the smashed crater. So he appears here and leaps down. Torsten hears the thundering sound of an avalanche. A massive gray blur crashes down into the chamber, revealing a hulking humanoid shape, rocky and misshapen. A bronze key hangs from its neck. It raises an enormous stone club. Okay. It's very different running a dungeon out of a book. Let's say Torsten with a recognizes that I recognize how hilariously ill-prepared I am for this fight. Although I do clutch my broken sword tight. Nevertheless, this creature is both huge and wields a massive stone club. Not to mention seeing all the broken yellow bones that lay around the floor. With no one to witness it, I'm comfortable with discretion being the better part of valor. Is that how it goes? And Torsten, again, slips around. He runs, I run, through the western hallway. As I run, the massive stone beast gives chase, although he cannot fit through the doorway, and instead, in his anger, he smashes the doorway and reduces it to rubble. The way back is now barred, and the stone demon lies here in wait. Coughing from the dust, I look onward and see the soft flickering light of a new bonfire that dances on the smooth stone walls of the hushed corridor. It's warm and comforting, although the fire is fueled by nothing less than a pile of charred bones. It's probably pretty hard to decide what smells worse, the settling rubble or the burning bones. However, crossing around the bonfire and moving further north, I spy a wolfskin wrap laying in wait on a rectangular flat stone in the center of the corridor, as if waiting for me. Inside is a sacrificial bundle and a bearded axe. What is a sacrificial bundle? Crude figure of a person made from moss, twine, and ash. Burn at a bonfire to restore 1 point of vigor. Vigor, I'm taking to understand, is essentially how many times your character can come back from the dead. Death isn't the end in Runecairn. Instead, you essentially come back. At the cost of a point of vigor. But with the sacrificial bundle, you can restore your vigor. So I will add that to my inventory. I'm going to count that as a small item that doesn't take up a slot. I could be wrong. It won't matter. And understand that I have a bearded axe with me. As I pick up the axe, memories of a previous life flood back into me. I remember. I'm Torsten. I was a warrior from a moderate village. Strangely enough, not a very warlike people. The fighters that we had were instead just for security of the people, defensive things. Although well trained and well intentioned, eventually, I don't remember who, eventually some other army raised against us and all was lost. And I think I died in defending my village, only to wake up here. Deciding to compartmentalize that memory for another time, I move on further north, bearded axe in hand. Now I come across... I have to make sound effects when I zoom in. The narrow corridor opens to a broad cavern with a high curved dome ceiling covered in mushrooms and lichen. At the center of the cavern lies a murky pool. A dusty skeleton sits against the eastern wall. The room is pungent with the smell of rotten decay. Condensation drips from the curved ceiling up above into the pool, keeping it refilled. I can see a corridor beyond to the north. I approach the pool. It's impossible to gauge the depth, The sides of the pool are slick with green algae, but I can see the faint outline of bony fingers inside. When I do that, when I approach the pool, the skeletons shake, rattle, and then begin to stand up, one sloshing off all this pungent water, the other one literally stitching his bones back together as he rises shakily up from the floor, leaning on the wall for support. They move on against me to attack. And I'm going to take a brief pause here to review combat. 32. Okay. Doesn't look too complicated. Oh, you know what? I was supposed to be rolling for omens at every room. I'm going to roll 4, 4, 5, 2, 5. Okay, no omens happened. That's good. Okay, skeletons. You know what? I'm going to pause to get some dry erase. Steve. That was silly of me to start without that. Okay. Move my dice over here. Rolling left-handed is kind of weird, but that's fine. Move this out of the way. Here we go. Skeletons. +1, 8. +2, 8. They each do a d6 damage, and a d12 when they die to resurrect. Okay. The initiative is mine because they're taking their time putting themselves together. So I splash into the water, raising my bearded axe high, and I swing down to attack. I'm going to come on strong with a dire strike. Sorry, a hack, which I believe does. First off, it costs a point of fatigue, which I also need to look up really quickly. Fatigue 24. Okay, fatigue takes up an inventory slot. I can take on 1, 2, 3, 4 fatigue before. 4 fatigue before I am out of inventory. That's not true. I'm not carrying any of this stuff. But I'll just start marking it on here. Either way, I'm going to hack. And hacking does 2 dice of damage. I believe 2d8. And if it does dire damage, which is if I roll an 8, then good stuff happens. So when rolling on the axe, watch for 8s. Yeah, okay. So 2d8. 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That skeleton's almost dead. They close in and counterattack. And I want to double check. Combat actions on your turn. You can move and take an action. Standard speed is 40 feet. Declare actions before rolling dice. Everything happens simultaneously. So as they rose, I went to attack. You can react to an attack and attempt to block, deflect, avoid damage. Excuse me. Okay. Every adventurer can roll away to avoid all physical damage or withdraw, which is a disengage. Attacks hit automatically, we know that. Okay, one thing I want to check for is multiple attacks. Excuse my reading. See, anyone can do this. If I can do this, you can do this. You don't have to read the rulebook at the time, although it helps. Equipment skills. With my axe, I have a... I have my shield, which lets me parry. I'm counting a shield as you can react to an attack. Okay. Okay, so I can attempt to parry each attack by making a strength check. Okay. So they're both going to attack me for d6 damage. But I parry the first and the second. And I will counterattack. I will not hack at the skeleton, but I'm just gonna, 7 damage. Down he goes. Or does he? D12. Yeah, he goes down. We were looking for a 12 there. Skeleton 1 is gone. Skeleton 2. I try to parry his d6 damage. Success. Awesome. And now I will go for another hack. So this is my second point of fatigue. 6, 4. He's slain. Or, yeah, he's slain. So I definitely hacked them both down. It's very weird describing it as I do something. I'm a forever GM for my home group, so maybe I'll just stick with you. Once the chaos of battle dies down, I notice at the bottom of the pool is a soul remnant. What is a soul remnant? Laying in the murky water. I think it's just one of these, a soul. I think that's kind of like experience points. You may discover soul remnants hidden in secret places, in areas of great power, or under the watch of fearsome guardians. Check that. Soul remnants are small and take up no inventory space. Breaking a soul remnant imbues you with the souls held within. Souls are delicate and discarded when you die. You have one chance to recover drop souls after you wake up at the bonfire. Die again before retrieving them, and they're lost forever. Spending souls. As souls represent the innate power of the gods, you can absorb their power to grow stronger when resting at a bonfire. You can focus on the imbued power and enhance your might. While resting, spend 1 soul to permanently increase one of your abilities. Your vitality. Okay. 1 to 1. Good to know. We got a soul. Remnant. I pick up my... Put myself back together and march north. The irregular rocky ground slants upward as the corridor curves, revealing a long, flat tunnel. Handfuls of broken arrows litter the ground at the bend in the cave. There's arrows all over the place here. Do I recognize that as... make a wit save? I'm going to do the... like I'm also noticing there's an obvious secret tunnel here. So I think I need to start making saves. And I'm wondering if I should be doing the, like, Iron Sworn, strong hit, weak hit stuff. Okay, so roll twice for wits. 1 success. Failure, so a weak hit. So as I come around the corner, the bowman waiting at the other end gets a shot off. And I realize just in time that this is a trap. So I will get to parry. Now double checking I can parry ranged attacks with my shield. Incoming attack, doesn't say. What? Deflect an incoming attack and riposte. Ooh, you can, when you parry, well, I was just blocking, I guess. But good to know that my shield gives parry? That doesn't seem right. And block? Hold on. It does give block and parry. Interesting. Okay, so when you block, it's just a reaction. Raise your shield to block an incoming attack. Strength and fatigue. But parry is deflect an incoming attack and riposte. And if you succeed, you get to retaliate with damage advantage, which I believe is rolling twice and taking the better. So I guess against the skeletons, I was supposed to be riposting. So that fight would have gone over a lot faster. But that's okay. Let's just double check what damage advantage is. Attacks from a position of strength. Multiple attackers targeting the same foe all roll damage dice, keeping the single best result. So I made a couple mistakes there. The skeletons, I should have rolled the d6 twice and kept the better number. Okay, so that's like a... What does damage advantage do, though, mechanically? I have to believe it just means rolling twice and keeping the better number. Okay. Let's get back to this broken arrow bend. So he shoots, and I recognize it just in time. So he will have damage disadvantage against my block, because I don't think I can parry a ranged attack, which was I believe my original question. Oh boy, I need like 400 bookmarks for this book. It is a very well put together book, but I'm just a dummy. I guess my question is, with block being a reaction that costs strength and fatigue, and parry is just a strength. Why would you ever block when you can parry? Let's double check something here. Okay, well, let's just move on. I'm going to just assume I can block. Maybe you can only parry melee attacks. I'm very confused. Okay. I'm going to assume that's the case. You can only parry a melee attack. That's how I'm going to run it. So I can only block this. I won't. I'm going to forgo that. So he's going to roll at damage disadvantage. Ooh, that was a big pause. Okay. Yeah, it only does D3 damage. These are weak arrows. I'm not going to worry about it. And I have 3 defense anyway, so he can't. That's actually interesting. His arrows like pelt into my armor and like break off of them. And looking up at the tunnel at him, I see him wearing tattered clothing, and he has aggression in his eyes. And when he realizes he can't break my armor, I think he withdraws. He runs away. I'm gonna peek ahead. Yeah, he runs away. Down the hallway. Leaving me confused and pulling an arrow out of my chainmail. Seed. And that's making me think I should not have had my shield. But anyway, I want to keep going on. There's a cramped alcove here. Against the cracked rear wall is another wolfskin wrap. Removing the wrap causes a loose stone to clatter to the ground. revealing a secret room, the lost cell, down below. Okay, well, why wouldn't I, Torsten, go for another wolf rap? The first one had my axe. Maybe I could have found more of my things here. So, picking it up, I find the lost cell down below. Broken stones clatter as I enter the chamber. The ceiling here is low, and the air is old and stale. Sitting on the stone floor in front of you is a battered wooden chest. I move forward to eagerly open it. Barely recognize that it's covered in gouges and banded in rusted iron, as if hacked away by an axe. Nevertheless, the chest opens easily and reveals a armband. Hammered bronze armband etched with animal likeness. Summons an animal spirit that can lead to fate or fortune. Okay, I'll put the armband on. A little bit disappointed I don't have a solution for my immediate problem, that archer who ran away, but an armband is just as good. I double back the way I came. And head down the hallway. Reluctantly chasing after that shade who shot arrows at me. Come across. The cramped open path opens to reveal a lush grotto exposed to the sky above. I take a minute to breathe in fresh air for the first time in I don't know how long. A sprawling tree, radiant beams of sunlight bathe the cavern in a golden glow, and the sprawling tree flourishes at the center. Brilliant red apples dotted amongst the green. A hooded woman tends to the tree, holding a wooden basket. She's stooped, small and frail, and wears a simple white cloak, hood drawn around her head. She turns and greets me. She speaks softly, in a dialect that's antiquated and unrecognizable. Her eyes are piercing. In her language that I don't recognize, she's offering me something. She extends her weathered hands out to show me a leather belt and a mead flask. As I raise the flask to my lips, I can taste the sweet apple mead. When I lower the flask, she and the tree are gone. There's only beams of sunlight from above and a faint scent of apples. My mead flask starts with 2 sips. Each sip restores 10 resilience, which is like hit points in this game, and clears 2 points of fatigue. It's good to know. Feeling somehow refreshed, or at least not as hopeless. I carry on, circling around where the tree was to head further south. Here the rocky terrain forms a crude natural staircase, obscured in heavy shadow. The path climbs further up, leading to a shallow arch. At the peak of the arch is a crumpled form. And here there's crumpled and shattered bones. I move forward thinking I can loot this form here, but as I do, yet another shade rises up from the ground. It was a trap. Okay, as the shade rises up, I try to hack it down with my axe. Shades. He has 3 resilience. And he does a d4 damage. Yeah, I'm distracted. I immediately jump to hack him down and shatter his crumpled form back down to the ground. Not seeing that just past him, that bowman who had taken a shot at me before now lays in wait at the top of the hill. And as I'm busy with this one, he starts pushing a massive boulder down the hill. I roll to get out of the way, jumping out of the way just in time to avoid d8 damage. And he runs again. I give chase. Now my blood is hot. I need revenge. Come across a ledge, a flat, broad room littered with piles of broken and smashed bones, shattered weaponry, and crushed armor. Massive cracks litter the stone ground and jagged walls as if smashed by something immense. Crashing echoes of something large moves around nearby. It's that stone demon down there below, still looking for me. The ground here is covered in a layer of fine dust that I kick up as I come running in with abandon. I almost overlook it, but there's a key waiting for me here, hanging on the wall. The shade, the bowman, looks to me and looks to the demon, takes his chances by jumping off the ledge. Would the demon attack him? A small chance. I'd say on a 5 or lower. No, natural 20. They've been working together for a long time. Nevertheless, I grab the key off the wall, recognizing that the other one actually hangs off the stone demon's neck. And I know what I have to do. Now is the only chance I'm going to get, the only advantage. While the stone demon is distracted by the shade running past him, I leap off the ledge and bring my bearded axe down on the stone demon's back. It says plunging attack, gain damage advantage on the demon. Okay. I'm also going to spend a 3rd point of fatigue and make this another hack. So I think that's the better of 2d8. Twice. So he has 9 resilience. And 2 defense. Shades have defense. Did I miss that? No. Okay. Okay. 3rd point of fatigue for advantage. 8, 9, or 6, 7, 8. I'll take the 9, and that also had a dire strike, which does something really good. So he's going to take 7 points of damage right off the bat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 9. And dire strike. Your opponent must make a strength save or stagger from the ferocity of the attack, moving back 5 feet and losing their next turn. All right. He has a 13 strength. Oh yeah, he's fine. Oh boy. All right, and in counterattack, he will either club, ground slam, or grab me. I'm gonna roll a d6 to decide what he does. He does a ground slam d8. It has a dire strike thing, so he will do a d8, and the shade will attempt to shoot me with his bow, doing a d3. I will attempt to parry, which doesn't cost me any fatigue, which is really weird. I do parry, which blocks his 8 damage. Make sure I'm reading that right too again. Sorry for flipping back and forth so much, but I'm really confused. Parry, deflect an incoming attack and riposte. Strength, success check, strength check, which I pass. Avoid all physical damage and retaliate for damage advantage. So I don't take any of the 8 damage, which is incredible, and I get damage advantage on an immediate counterattack. 5 or 8. That's another. That's 8 points of damage. That destroys the stone demon. And I think at this point I let the shade run away. I don't care. I pick up the demon's key off his necklace and proceed north, recognizing that this door requires 2 keys in each. Sorry, a key for each door. As soon as the doors are unlocked, they almost swing open of their own accord as a violent, piercing wind shrieks through the narrow stone channel ahead. Cold tearing at my skin and chilling my breath. Ice gathers on the stone walls and the path is perilous. The wind carries a foul stench and drowns out most sound. Moving on, I cross a frozen stream. And push on through a cloud of fog, taking a tunnel that goes underneath the ledge that I crossed before. Breaking through the fog, I find a plateau exposed to the sky. An enormous raven perches on a broad ash stump. Black eyes staring. Between you and the raven is a dead thing, clad in broken armor and wielding a bearded axe, eyes glowing with red malevolence. Stinging wind, even stronger. The wind here is even stronger, lashing at my skin and carrying a putrid stench. The death blue dead warrior waits, red eyes scanning. So there's a blue guy there. The enormous raven shuffles on its perch, watching. I go to my mead flask first, and I take a slow sip as this death blue, clearly dead warrior slowly circles around, his dried lips peeling back in a hateful smile. His voice is cold and guttural, as if his throat is completely frozen solid. And he spits out something about he recognized me. He says, "Oh, you, Torsten, you still live. I thought I slayed you back where we both come from. I guess it's my pleasure to get to do it once more." And he draws his own axe, waiting for me to take the charge. He has 8 resilience and 1 defense. Full of courage and now apple mead. Charge forward. Not realizing that as I get close, the stench is so terrible, I need to make a strength save. Barely keeping my mead down, I charge in, and I'm going to hack him. Just rolling twice. 15 damage. And he swings back at me at the same time. It's just a d6, but I'll try to parry. And I parry it. The exchange is one blow each. I swing, he goes high and I go low, and I duck underneath the high arc of his axe swing and come in low and split him almost in half in one ferocious, revengeful strike. And he falls without another thing said, filling the plateau with a renewed sense of horrible stench. Through the frozen haze of his gore, the raven crouches and springs up off the tree stump, taking to the air with a gust in its wings. Circling around, it hovers for a moment before grasping me firmly in its talons. I fly off into the unknown sky, onward into the new world below. And that is the end of Cave of Echoes. Fun game. I feel like I was doing something wrong for combat to be so easy, but maybe I did roll like crazy good stats. A 14 in strength makes parrying almost a pretty sure thing. As for plans, I'd like to keep going with this. I don't think I enjoyed the dungeon crawling so much, especially like a pre-written dungeon crawling that's not super solo play friendly. However, between here and next session, I think I'm going to just lean into Mythic and Runecairn, and come up with a little adventure for faceless Torsten here. I think there's a lot of potential in Runecairn. If you enjoyed watching this, I really appreciate it. I'm getting a lot of kind words from the people who do take the time to watch. I read them all. I appreciate them immensely. And I would love to end this session with another reminder that if you've ever had any inclination, if you're ever on the fence about one, playing solo games, or two, recording yourself playing solo games, now is a really good time to give it a shot. Again, if you're curious about more details, head over to at Man Is Alone on YouTube, and I think check out one of his latest videos where he goes into the 100 hours solo play warm-up challenge. I'm doing my part, and I think you should too. Thanks for watching.